Hello, I'm Elizabeth Merritt, and I'm so pleased to join you today from Washington, D.C. to share a few thoughts about planning for the future with a foresight mindset. As Vice President of Strategic Foresight at the American Alliance of Museums, my job is to help museum professionals bring a futures mindset to how they understand and navigate the world. Strategic foresight is necessary because the time frame of the uncertain future has shifted. We always understood that the world could be radically different 100 years from now. Now the time frame for uncertainty has shrunk to as little as 100 days. This has been dramatized over the past 2.5 years as the COVID-19 pandemic forced us to update our plans week to week to adapt to current caseloads, health recommendations, and regulations. While the pandemic has caused particularly extreme disruptions, rapid change is going to be a constant in coming decades in our environment, economy, technology, culture, and our political conditions. One term for the highly uncertain short-term future we face in coming decades is a VUCA world. VUCA is an acronym for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. Let's look at some examples of challenges faced by museums in this VUCA environment. First, volatility, which refers to the speed of change. This pace of change is driven in part by technology. In the 21st century, we have the potential for near instantaneous global transmission of knowledge to huge numbers of people. For example, on May 25, 2020, George Floyd, a black man, was murdered by police officers in Minneapolis, Minnesota, a crime that was caught on video and widely circulated on social media. In the following 2 weeks, the hashtag Black Lives Matter was used nearly 50 million times on Twitter. Museums in Minneapolis, across the United States, and across the world were confronted with the need to respond to this terrible act of racist violence. I'm sure not one of those museums had in their strategic plan a bullet point that read, "Prepare to respond to police violence and mass protests." But museums that were already engaged with their communities, that were aware of and had begun to address the tensions arising from racism and police violence, were better positioned to respond in ways that were meaningful, timely, and authentic. In a volatile world, museums have to be poised to navigate rapid, near instantaneous change by being aware of the forces shaping our world, forces that may accelerate with little warning. Our ability to navigate the future is made even more difficult by uncertainty, areas of knowledge where we lack confidence in predictions about how things will play out. As we contemplate the post-pandemic world, it's clear those areas of uncertainty are vast. To name just one, what will be the future of remote work? During 2020, telework increased by a factor of 10. And you know what? It turns out that for many jobs, remote work is very effective and results in no decline in productivity. Even some museums found that volunteers could perform their jobs remotely. This picture shows the virtual docent program at the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, which enabled volunteers to converse with visitors via a screen. We don't know yet whether remote work is here to stay, creating a future in which much of the museum workforce never or rarely enters the museum, or whether it will fade away. Because we don't know and won't know for some time, museums need to create strategies that will work under either or both scenarios. Museums also face a world that is increasingly complex, involving multiple interrelated connections influencing change. For example, the current rise of blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, and the creation and trading of NFTs, digital collectibles based on the blockchain. Pictured here are CryptoKitties, some of the earliest NFTs that allow users to collect, breed, and sell virtual cats. Are these fads that will flame out in a few years, or are they here to stay? That depends on many complex interrelated factors, including the stability of the technology, concern over the environmental impact of blockchain, and the ability of companies to reduce that impact, regulation of the industry, and public appetite. Will NFTs be the next Van Goghs, or will they be ephemeral? Museums considering whether to accept payments or solicit donations via cryptocurrencies, or to create and issue their own NFTs, have to take these complexities into consideration as they make decisions about investment, cost, and reputational risk. Finally, museums live in a world filled with ambiguity, which is to say, a lack of clarity about how to interpret something. Sometimes our information is incomplete, contradictory, or inaccurate. For example, my colleagues and I at the American Alliance of Museums like to cite data, our own and from other researchers, showing that museums are the most trusted organizations in society, second only to friends and family in overall trust. But the more I dig into this data with colleagues, the murkier it becomes. Why are museums trusted? Trusted about what? What would endanger that trust? It's vital we improve our understanding of this issue so that museums can use their superpower of trust for the good of society. Strategic foresight, my area of practice, helps museums successfully navigate a VUCA world by a structured process of monitoring what's going on in the world, taking note of trends and significant events, assessing what those changes mean, exploring implications for museums and their communities, expanding our understanding of the many potential futures we face at any given time, illustrated here with the futurist's cone of possibility, and engaging in agile, iterative adaptation to the rapidly changing world. Thank you for the opportunity to present a very brief introduction to the foresight approach to museum planning. I encourage you to access more resources about foresight, trends, and museum futures on the Alliance website, and you can follow me on Twitter at Future of Museums.